You're listening to the Educating Aiden podcast. Learning things he should probably have already known, one conversation at a time. Here's your host, Aiden.
How's it going, folks? Thanks so much for joining us. Today, we have a very special guest. We're going to go a different direction. We're going to talk about politics. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's something I need to cover because I know absolutely nothing about politics. So, today, joining me, we have SDLP Councillor for Torrent Ward in Middlester, Mr. Malachy Quinn.
Hello.
Malachy, how you doing, bud?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm good.
Good,
You having a good day?
It went okay. Good. It was a very early start.
Well, let's get started straight in. Tell me, how did you get started in politics? Was your family big into politics?
No. My family were all talked about politics, but just in the general sense of what was on the news. They were never overly political, but I do remember conversations in the house when I was a young boy, mostly based around what John Hume had done. I remember one conversation about him bringing Ian Paisley into talks. I hadn't a clue what that meant at that stage, but always meant, well, if John Hume's doing that, it must be right. I didn't really get political, actually, probably to about A-levels, where I went to Armagh Tech, and it was a mixed religion class for A-levels. And this was the first political statement I ever made. Now, we talked in that religion class, we talked about everything bar the actual religion. Yes. But I remember somebody stood up, and it was around the time the IRA robbed the Northern Bank, and one of the ones from the other side stood up and says, "No, they robbed the bank, blah, 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 you can't do that." And I stood up and I go, "Hold on a wee second. John Hume says they didn't rob the bank, so they didn't rob the bank. End of story." And, well, we ended up being wrong on that, but that's okay. That's okay. We moved on, and then I went to St Mary's, University College in Belfast, and I remember I signed up at a freshers' fair, probably to every political party.
Was St Mary's a teaching college, is it?
It is a teaching college, indeed. It also does a BA degree as well, which is what I did.
That's what you done?
That's what I done. Excellent. So I signed up to about probably 3 political parties that day, but
just,
whatever.
Just throw it at the wall and see what sticks, huh?
But then through university and just chatting to friends and different things, I started getting more involved in politics and especially discussing it. And then I went to Norway to live for 4 months with 4 wonderful friends, 2 Maireads and 1 Catherine, on the Erasmus programme. We went to Norway, and my parents decided, we'll come over and visit. And I says, well, you can't come to this town because it's up in the north in the fjords, and you literally have to get 3 planes and a wee Indiana Jones plane and then a taxi. So I decided,
the one that lands in water.
Absolutely, 100%.
Excellent.
And then I said, right, we'll go to Oslo. So we spent a couple of days around Oslo, and one of the big things there was the Nobel Peace Centre. That's where the Nobel Prize is presented every year, is in Oslo.
Excellent. And
obviously, being an Irish fella, I went in to see who got one, and I ended up looking at John Hume, and we went in and a couple of talks in John Hume and him being interviewed, just talking about peace, how important it was, how we go forward. And I just sat there in silence for about 45 minutes watching this man speak, and I says, you know what, if I'm going to do anything political, that's the man.
This is what it is.
That's the man I want to back. I want to back his party. I emailed John O'Doherty, who was in the SDLP at the time. He's now heads the Rainbow Project up in Belfast.
Oh, okay.
And asked him, can I join the SDLP, please? And he's like, absolutely, 100%. We have a meeting next week. Are you coming? And I was like, I'm in Norway, but sure, why not? So I happened to be home, I think, the week before the meeting. So I joined, and they made me University and Colleges officer for the SDLP youth that day, and I haven't looked back since.
Excellent. And what does the SDLP actually stand for? What's the acronym?
Acronym is the Social Democratic and Labour Party. Okay. It was once going to be the LSD party, but thankfully Jerry Fitt, one of the founding members, decided that mightn't be the best idea.
No, so I think that would have raised a few eyebrows, I think.
Absolutely.
So was there you come from a Republican background then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Before we go any further, I just want to point out that this is not a Republican-based podcast or any side-based podcast, and that any party are welcome to come on with any representative and chat away. Get that out of the road. Now, Malachy, you're from a Republican background. What made you go SDLP as opposed to any other party?
It was very simple. And again, it's probably back to the Armagh Tech sort of experience. I grew up in Killeen. There's not many ways or avenues to meet Protestant friends or friends from the other tradition.
Of course.
But when I went to Armagh Tech, obviously thrown into a mix, I actually ended up, most of my friends were unionists. And the odd thing, and the very strange thing, is I discovered they're just like me.
Of course, they're just
almost
people.
Every single way. And I was like, what? what? I
Yeah.
thought all these are meant to be strangers and they're meant to have these weird ideas and stuff like that. And then I started thinking when it came to politics, look, I'm not here for division. I want people to work together. It doesn't matter where they come from, who they are, what their background is. Working class, middle class, unionist, Protestant, Catholic, nationalist, Republican. It doesn't matter to me. What I'm more interested in is, yes, I want a united Ireland, but I want to see this place work. I want to see education work for you. I want to see health work for us. I want all the big issues. I don't want to be identified because of my background. And to me, the SDLP done that. I always seen Sinn Féin's politics as more of division than bringing people together, and it's that whole John Hume message,
Okay.
bringing people together, and that's what drew me to the SDLP.
That's quite cool. That's cool, man. Okay. The reason I asked John was because I know nothing about the politics in this country.
And you asked me,
and I'm 31 years old, so I've been able to vote now for what, the guts at 20 odd years, nearly, and math's probably awful. That's why I'm doing an Educating Aiden podcast, because I am literally a huge dumbass. So, what levels do we have of government? So
we have, I suppose we have 3 levels of basic government. We have local government, which is Mid-Ulster Council, and we have 11 councils in Mid-Ulster, in Northern Ireland.
Okay.
Or the 6 counties, or whatever people want to call it, obviously, cover all my bases there. Then we have Stormont, which is MLAs. So again, we have 18 constituencies with 5 MLAs now, actually. Went from 6 to 5 at the last election. And then we have, above that, we have Westminster, which is our MPs, or 18 MPs.
Okay.
And
And you're at what level are you?
I'm a councillor.
You're councillor.
I'm a
so
councillor. I've been
you're
a councillor.
grassroots.
Yes,
you're down here
grassroots
with the people.
Councillors are basically the face of the operation. They're the first call that people go to. People see them on the streets, and they're usually involved in the local community. Like there's 6 councillors in the Torrent area.
Yes.
And they all live in the area. They're all part of the GAA. They're all part of the communities, different charities and groups. They're involved in it. Whereas an MLA is probably involved in one area, but obviously he's covering a lot more than that.
Okay.
So,
So for people that aren't from here, what size of an area is the Torrent?
Torrent stretches from Galbally, very top of Galbally, all the way down to Kinturk.
What's that in square miles?
Oh, I
approximately?
haven't a notion. It'll
We
take me
talking
about
20, 30
half.
something?
It'll take me half an hour to drive across the whole thing.
Fuck's sake.
Probably
Half an
more.
hour.
Probably more.
Okay.
To get to Arbo from here is what, 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
And to get to the top of Galbally is 15-20 minutes. So they're 40 minutes. It's a big area.
I know, because when you break it up into all these little constituencies, because we live in such a small country, even if you take the whole of Ireland, it's still a very small
Very
country.
small, very compact, but there's a lot of country in the middle. I would love to be just a town council like in Belfast, where it's just door to door. Whereas this one, you knock a door, and then the next one's maybe 2 miles down the road, so you're driving all the way down there. It doesn't make it easy, but there's actually a lot of people. There's 12,000 people, maybe more than that, just in maybe 1 or 2 wee wards. Like, it's massive area.
And you're very recently after an election.
Yes, after 2 elections.
2 elections.
Just added to it. Yes, we had the local elections at the start of May, and thankfully I was returned as a councillor, and then we had the European elections just a couple of weeks after that as well.
Excellent. And how did you find the whole campaign and door to door?
I love it. I do love it. Now, the only problem was I got married in March, so I went
congratulations.
thank you very much. Hello to my wife, Emer. She'll kill me if I don't mention that. And she'll kill me now I did mention it. But I went from getting married, honeymoon, boom, straight into electioneering. So there was...
What do you mean, like over the course of a month, 2
Over
months?
a month? No, over the course of about 2 weeks. We talk about 2
Are you
weeks.
crazy?
Yeah. It was March. Let me see. I got married on the 16th of March, and then we had the honeymoon for a week. And then by the end of March, I was knocking doors with my new ring and everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
excellent.
that was
Do
good.
you still wear your wedding ring?
I
Put you under
do. And
pressure?
I haven't done it.
Because I don't. Because I am the worst person in the world for remembering to put it back on.
I had a shower just before I came in, and I've left it on the bathroom windowsill. But normally I do wear it, yes.
I see. I can't. My hands swell up, and then I keep catching it and
No,
things.
mine slips off actually very easily. Oh, I should say that. But
Emer, it's not a sign. It's not a sign. Okay.
you walk in and Emer's like, "Where's your wedding ring, Malachy?" And I was like, "I don't know." She goes, "It's upstairs in the bedroom." I was like, "Oh, I left it there." Sorry.
Vola does that with me too. She's like, you seen your wedding ring? I'm like, oh yeah. Do you know where it's at? I think it's in the car. No, it's not in the car. It's upstairs.
Are you single today, Malachy? That might be at the end of this conversation, probably.
So tell me this here: grassroots politics is where you're at, door to door. What do you cover? Like, what do people get from you? You know, say if you were, what's the general things that people come to you about? What's your speciality?
Everything.
Everything.
No, look, people come to you with all different sorts of things. So this week alone, I got a call about fishermen today and helping them with different forms and stuff to fill in. I had a speed limit issue up in the Muir Road up in Clonoe. That was dealt with this week. I had other things.
What happened there? Was it too high, too low?
It wasn't. It was too high, to be honest. It was a 60-mile-an-hour zone 5 years ago when I was first a councillor, and I got a phone call from a family who live in it and asked me, "Can you do anything about it?" And so I investigated, and we got it moved down to a 40. Excellent. And then every year, and I mean every year, I've been asking, "Get me a 30, get me a 30." Doesn't meet legislation, doesn't meet legislation, doesn't meet legislation. And eventually, this week, they're like, "Oh, no, it meets legislation." And I was like, "Yes."
Excellent, congratulations on that.
Well, it's not me, it's the residents that worked with me and put the hard work in, and I'm just happy for them. A lot of young children live around there running across the road to the play park, so hopefully it's a wee bit safer for them now.
Well, that's all you can hope for.
Absolutely.
You know? So you're the first point of call then, essentially?
First point of call, absolutely.
So what other kind of issues do people come with you? Is there any, like, I'm going to say this, are there any stupid issues? Any people phone you up going, Malachy, my cat's in a tree. What's the crack? You coming over here?
I like, how high is the tree? Okay, I'll see what I can do. No, look, everybody comes, now this is probably the way, I suppose the way I've been taught, or the way I think about things. If somebody's coming to you with an issue, it's the most important issue in the world because it's the most important issue to them. Okay. So they're coming to you, and that issue is severely important. So I have to deal with every issue the same way, as if it's the most vital issue I've ever heard. And people come to you with really, really complicated ones, really, really personal ones, and it doesn't matter. Might mean anything to somebody else, but it means something to them. So I deal with it as best as I can. If I have to refer them on to a higher level, usually to Patsy McGlone, who's our SDLP MLA, I will, and put them through to the office, and hopefully they get sorted. So it doesn't matter. Bring any issue to me. If I can help, I'll do my best to do it.
Excellent. So whereabouts would your jurisdiction end then? If you cover like roads and I suppose amenities, essentially. Yeah.
No, there's no limit to what I can do. Oh my God, no. There's no limit.
Is that the line you used for Emer? Emer, there's no limit to what I can do.
No,
let's get married.
I tried to talk to Emer and she ignored me the first time we met, but whatever.
It's all coming out now.
This hour's going to be long. No, there's no sort of limit. People come to you with any issue, so if I can deal with it, put it like this. Dealing with roads one day. Council, it's nothing really to do with the council, but it's something to do with road surface, but that's my job to take care of it.
Yes.
There was funding for the arts, which is a big thing for me, for Bardic Theatre, for Crack Theatre locally. That's MLA level. However, because I was already involved in it and I'd done the research into it, I was able to have a meeting with the Arts Council, and we had three MLAs along with me, Claire Hanna, Patsy McGlone and Pat Catney, but it was me that was leading it. Okay. Because it was
you had the
thing.
experience in it?
No, not even the experience. They're obviously more experienced than me.
I mean experience in the arts?
Yes.
Because you have a bit of a theatre background, don't you?
It was me that wanted to drive it. I have a wee bit of a theatre background.
You do musicals and shows and stuff,
The Bardic and Crack are very nice to allow me.
They have let me to come on their stage.
They don't put me off the stage. They say, "Okay, Malachy, we'll let you on for a few minutes."
You haven't got the old sheep shepherd hook coming out from the side of the stage yet, then? No.
Oh, I believe you me. I've had it before. I had it before, especially when it comes to dancing and in Crack, or especially in Bardic Theatre. What's the problem? I can't dance. Oh, okay.
What got you into that? Was that something you were doing before politics, or?
Yeah, I've been involved in theatre for a very long time, since I was a wee child. Obviously it's because I was a teacher's son, so they let me do a bit of acting when I was in primary school, and I loved it. And public speaking was another big thing that I absolutely adored, writing down speeches and going to competitions and stuff, and I won a few when I was in secondary school. And then sort of the two just sort of mixed in between each other. So we'd done a couple of plays in school. I was a history student at St Mary's, but I was very friendly with the music group, and we decided together, hold on, we'll put on a wee bit of a musical, and we put we done a night at the musicals, and then we done Footloose.
Oh, Footloose!
Footloose is
one of my favourite songs of all time. See when that thing comes on, It doesn't matter where I am. It has to be start to finish heard, and it's just
It is
amazing.
a staple on like every wedding sort of playlist. Footloose has to be played at some stage. Like it's brilliant.
time.
But I loved the musical, and then because of that, I joined Queen's Music Theatre Group. Got set up that year because of the experience that people had with Footloose, and they done Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh, that's a
and
big one.
it was brilliant. The people we had in it was unbelievable. Just the talent was exceptional.
Like
And they let me be it.
as a singer, that is one of those musicals where you look at and you go, "Oh God, that's going to be hard to sing."
Oh no! Oh
it's
no!
just-
I played one of the priests, so I was happy. I was very low, so I didn't have to talk too high.
know.
But the guy that played Judas, Grant, I think his name was, exceptional. And then sure, I done Jesus Christ Superstar again there 2 years ago with Bardic Theatre.
Yes.
Conor Begley done it then, and
Yeah,
the
Conor-
vocal range.
Conor won a
He won an award for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
fair
did.
play to him.
Oh, the vocal range in them musicals are frightening.
It's crazy.
Frightening.
It's
Frightening.
crazy. You only think you're a singer until you go to sing something like that, and then you go, "Oh, where'd my voice go?"
I know. I thought I could sing, and then I seen everybody else singing around me in Bardic, and I was like, "No, I can't sing at all." Nope. No.
Right, let's get back to politics, because that's what we're here to talk about
Yes.
today. So you have your grassroots roots level, which is you as a councillor.
Yep.
Then you have MLA. So what is an MLA's job? What do they do?
Oh, MLA does everything that a councillor does, and then they handle also the policy and the legislation that goes through Stormont. So when it comes to setting the budget, when it comes to fighting on environmental issues, goes through the different committees, up in Stormont, and well, that's basically what they do. They make the policy, they make the legislation,
Yeah.
they debate it, they go through it with a fine-tooth comb, they make sure everything's right, they stand up for their constituents, they raise health issues, raise everything. So basically they run the country.
They run
They're
the
meant
country.
to. They're
And
meant
you
to.
said there's a third level. Is there
There's
a level
a third.
above that?
There's
again?
a level above that because we have devolved government.
Okay.
So everything used to be ruled from Westminster, but now since 1998 we've had obviously a devolved government in
Right,
Stormont.
so let me stop you there.
Yes.
For the people who are listening
Okay.
and don't know what a devolved government is, like this guy right here, what's a devolved
Right.
government?
So as I said, Westminster used to rule all of the United Kingdom essentially.
Okay, and that encompassed us as
That's
well.
the mother parliament. I'll put that in quotation
Okay.
marks. So that's where everything comes from. But because of devolved government, they then devolve some issues out to each country. So Scotland, Wales, and the North have their own parliaments. So Stormont, Hollywood, and I forget the Welsh one. But anyway, they have their own parliaments.
Yes.
They elect their own representatives, and they then deal with the powers that they have. So the powers sort of differ between different, like Scotland's, for example, would have a lot more responsibilities than Stormont would have.
Okay.
Stormont would love to have the responsibilities that Scotland have, but they don't have at the minute. But then everything sort of was decided. So basically, it's local people taking local decisions. That's the idea behind it.
Well, that's probably the more sensible way of
Absolutely.
approaching it. You know, so then Westminster supersedes that again.
It would
essentially.
It essentially does, but it doesn't. You don't really get overruled by Westminster. So once there's a running devolved government, Westminster stay away except for the fountain.
Oh.
They give you the money.
Oh, they
They
they're-
give
they're
us
purse.
the money. Yes, pretty much.
Excellent. Right. So, what do you think are the biggest challenges then locally that people are coming to you with?
The biggest one is get back to Stormont. Actually do some work.
Yeah.
Bring it
Because at
back.
the minute there's no.
There's none. We haven't had a government in this country for 2.5 years at this stage, which is crazy.
Why?
Well, as with politics, there's disagreements.
Of course, yeah.
It started around the RHI stuff that everybody's well familiar with the
Yeah,
burning of the
yeah.
boilers and too much. So that all came to light probably about, if I can remember, October, November time. And then a lot of pressure went on Arlene Foster and ourselves, SDLP called
Sorry,
for...
who's
Arlene
Arlene's-
Foster was First Minister, head of the
Yes.
DUP. We called for her to resign, and she wouldn't do it. And then Sinn Féin were sort of hemming in hand. What do we do here? What do we do? And then eventually, Mark McGuinness pulled the plug on all governments, and Sinn Féin said they won't go back until certain things were met.
Okay.
So one of the red lines were sort of equal marriage, Irish Language Act, all
And
that sort
red
of stuff.
lines are
Red lines are meant to be, we're not doing anything unless we get what we want.
okay. That's
Them issues,
essentially the line in the sand that we
not
have to
doing.
be here or else.
Yes,
It's
well,
not working.
that's what they're meant to be.
Okay. And what were the main ones? Sorry.
Irish Language Act, equal marriage. They were the two big main ones, I think.
Did I not hear recently that equal marriage is going to come in.
Yes.
Things don't come together.
If things don't come together, yes, that was passed this week. What essentially was happened was our Secretary of State from Westminster, who's the government's representative, was passing through a bill that would extend, because Stormont's been down so long, we are meant to have an election. So they changed the law to extend that need for an election to October 21st. So then some MPs over in London said, well, here's an opportunity. They don't have equal marriage or abortion. Let's plug them issues onto that bill. And it was debated. So if October 21st doesn't see a return to Stormont, then equal marriage will be brought into Northern Ireland as well as abortion, or different changes in abortion law anyway. And
do you think that takes a lot of pressure off conflicting parties that don't want to take a firm stance on that?
I think it does. I think that's two big issues that now they can sort of, that's dealt with. We don't have to deal with them.
Yeah.
And, there's sort of a thought going around, well, that's what they were looking for. They're looking these big issues taken off their hands so they can go to the doors and say, oh, well, we didn't take the decision. It was Westminster that done it. Don't blame us for it.
Yeah.
So that's two big issues off the table now.
What's your party's stance on gay marriage and abortion?
We have individual choice for abortion, and we are very much for equal marriage, and very happy to see it come in.
Excellent.
We've been campaigning. It was one of my first campaigns, actually, as an SDLP youth member back in 2007.
Yeah.
It was it and the vote for president, the Irish president, were the two main campaigns that the SDLP youth ran. And I guess 2007, so that's what, 12 years.
And you're not Irish president. That didn't pan out.
It's coming. We have what it was for all Irish citizens to be able to vote for the Irish president.
To be able to vote for the president.
People in the 6 counties are able to vote for the Irish president. So there's a referendum on that this year, and that'll be up, I think it's October.
Is that a referendum that we can vote in, or is it
No, it's just going to be people down in the Republic.
Okay.
And then once that passes, and hopefully it does, then we all can vote for the president.
Great. It'll be another day out for us
to
tick boxes.
No, you know what? It'll be exciting because it gives. Look, we're all Irish people. We're two sides of the border, but we're all one nation under God. And Irish people have a right to decide who's going to represent them. That's what the president does, represents Irish people globally. He's the head of state, and it gives everybody a chance to sort of say, well, he represents me. That's great. We had the ludicrous situation of Mary McAleese, who born in the north but couldn't vote for herself.
Was Mary McAleese born in the north? I never knew that.
There you go.
Never knew that.
We actually had two people around. We had Austin Curry ran at that stage against Mary McAleese, both born in the north.
From the north.
Couldn't vote for each other. They couldn't vote for themselves because of where they were born, but now it's going to change.
Well, your party is big for United Ireland.
Yes, we are. Yes.
So how do you think that could come about?
Oh,
I know that's a big question. Because you were talking about the president of Ireland, and I was like, that's a nice segue. Let's use that.
Let's see where we can trip him up on this one. No, look, United Ireland is the end goal. That's what we want to see. That's why the SDLP was set up. It's one of our founding principles, was to see a United Ireland. It's difficult. We had 30 years of conflict here based around the notion of United Ireland. We had people, obviously the Provisional IRA, right, who bomb our way and shoot our way, Armalite in one hand, battle box in the other. And we had loyalist paramilitary set up. No, we're not going, and started killing as well, and with collusion and all sorts of horrible things that happened for 30 years. And there's a stigma around
thankfully, Mir, you didn't really live through.
No, we certainly didn't.
You hear the horror stories, but
No.
like, I have only very vague memories of even.
I don't have any. I remember the police or the army marching through my garden one morning. For whatever reason, I don't know. I remember the army checkpoints and stuff when I was very young, but very little memory of it.
Yeah, very vague memory of there being a checkpoint in Cookstown, maybe?
I think there was one going up Platers Hill. We were stopped. I remember us being stopped because I remember an army man raising his gun at the car, and I'm like, why is he raising a gun at my car? But whatever age it was at that stage. But yeah, so there's a lot of work to do on it. Mm-hmm. You can't drag anybody over the border to the end point and says, right, we're living, come on along with us, that's it, you know. We have to. John Hume's big thing is bringing people along with you, and it's helping them, and it's through persuasion and discussion, and we need 51% in a referendum to do that, and that's right. That's the way it should be. Yeah. But I would rather go across with 75-80% of people voting for it. I don't want to drag anybody. I don't want to drag people into it, but you want to work with them, you want to help people. We all want to live on this island together in peace and harmony.
Of course.
And we need a discussion. So the way to unite Ireland is very simple, I think, is make the North work first, have normalisation of society, because we're still very, very divided. And once we start working together closely, I think United Ireland will come naturally. I honestly do. I do think it'll come naturally.
You really think the divide will mend? And
eventually, it's going to take years and years and years for that to happen. And quite frankly,
do you think we would see that in our lifetime?
I think we do. I really, really do. Look how far we've come in 30 years when we were blowing people up, and now we've stopped. Look, and the big thing about John Hume, and ties into Europe and all that, he stood in European Parliament. One side of him was France, the other side of him was Germany, who had been at war.
Yes.
2 big world wars between them, and all of a sudden,
Germany's been in a couple of wars, haven't they?
They have just one or two.
It's war and football. That's what they do, isn't it?
Well, they're very good at very good at football anyway.
Anyway.
But they were standing there, and John Hume says, "These 2 people, and the speech he had in Europe was brilliant. What he said was, if I had stood here." They had came together 10 years after the war, and John Hume said, if I had stood here in 1945 and told you that there's going to be a parliament and these 2 countries are going to be working together, I would have been sent to a psychiatrist. But now look at them, all working together for the betterment of Europe, all countries together. Why can't we do that here? Work together, move this place forward. It's going to be great.
Yeah, because that's what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, I don't really have a political stance as such. I just want to get on with people, get on with my life. And not to have a fear to walk down the street because go to a certain building on a Sunday, you know. So, do you think, why would we need a United Ireland?
We're one island.
Yes.
We can't have 2 jurisdictions on one island. We should have an all-island economy. We should have an all-island health service, an all-island education service, all-island everything working together. It just makes more sense. And again, we're a people, we're a culture. And Ireland, especially, very modern country with different cultures coming together. If you go down to Dublin, you'll see that.
Huge influx in different cultures.
Massive. And it's great to see.
Oh,
and just to hear Island is a perfect example of 2 people from different countries coming together and working together and making the area better. And that's what Ireland's all about. And I just think working together from one country, we can achieve so much together instead of all this back and forth, you and us. If we make us just one person, one country, one island, it's going to be great.
Yeah, well, for me looking in from an outside perspective and not really knowing a lot, it just seems that any time something needs done, it just takes so much longer than it would anywhere else, you know?
Well, no, it certainly does. And again, there is cross-border cooperation, obviously, but then it's 2 sets of red tape you have to go through. It's 2 governments you have to go through. Yeah. You have to get one to agree and the other to agree and to come together. So look at Brexit. Oh. Look at the red tape that's causing between different countries and all that sort of stuff. If we're just working as one unit, we'd so much more.
Speaking of Brexit, the morning the result came in, how were you shocked?
There's 2 elections happening around that. Donald Trump got elected, and then there was the European election, or the Brexit election, and I stayed up for Donald Trump won, and that shocked me to my core because I was like, Hillary will float this, no problem.
I had no. I was Hillary was a sure thing.
And then it was the same for Brexit. I thought, this is a sure thing. And I remember going to bed and I was watching the results coming in. I think it was the first result coming in, and it says, this has went to these people have voted to leave, and I'm like, just nodded out. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. No problem. I woke up the next morning, and I think it was my dad came into my bedroom, and he's just like, we voted to leave, and I was like, are you bloody joking? Looked up BBC, David Cameron resigned. I was like, what in underground happened?
It was just because I didn't really know much about it. I knew there's
a lot of people didn't know much about it.
I knew there's a referendum coming up because I heard it in the news. Didn't know that it was to leave the European Union. I personally didn't vote.
Shameful.
I know. Terrible. It's the only election recently I didn't vote in, and after the day after, I was like, that's it. No more going by that I don't have some kind of voice in this.
Absolutely.
But I woke up and it was just like this massive shitstorm.
It was such a weird, because we canvassed on it. Now, there obviously SDLP were the only party to register.
Okay.
For that election.
Okay.
I was out, and we were all out. We went out and we canvassed all around Mid-Ulster.
Well, Northern Ireland,
strange.
Voted to stay, didn't they?
We voted to stay, but even when I was out talking to people, like I was meeting foreign nationals.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, you're registered to vote. Are you coming out to vote for us to stay? And even they were like, no, we want to leave. And I was like, why?
Would that not cause major issues for
It
them?
would cause
visas
issues,
and stuff like
it
that.
just wasn't computing. And then farmers, big farmers that were coming in, oh no, we're voting to leave, want to get out.
Do farmers not get like a grant from the EU?
Massive amounts of money from the EU, and they were willing to throw all that away for what? For absolutely, and that's why. And again, this is the strange stuff coming back. And I was like, why are people thinking like this? This is, if we leave the EU, this is going to be an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
But you've heard it in the months and the weeks after the election. People go, oh, I thought it was about this issue, not this issue. It's not. Everybody went, oh, it's all about the foreigners. UKIP and all them people, oh, it's about the foreigners. Get the foreigners out.
It seemed to
and
be
all that underscore racism that was coming out.
That's
what
what seemed to be driving it.
Absolutely.
That was, from my perspective, it was driving. Let's get foreign nationals out of the UK, and let's make the UK be Britain again or whatever.
Absolutely.
That kind of clever. Keep Britain or something.
Keep Britain, all that rubbish. And then you realise, oh, hold on, who's going to be our nurses? Who's going to be our doctors? Who's going to be our surgeons? Well, a lot of them.
If I'm lying on a doctor's table and the doctor comes in and he isn't the same ethnicity of me, I am not going to give a fiddler's.
I worked in the health service. I remember I worked as a ward clerk in Craigavon Hospital and all the surgical wards. And believe you me, the amount of work that they put on doesn't matter. Who they are, where they come from, very professional, fantastic service that they give under a lot of pressure. But if it wasn't for people coming from the EU, nurses and doctors, we wouldn't have a health service. End of story. And it's not just in the hospitals, it's home care, it's the home helps, it's just everything that we have is all multicultural. Everybody works in all systems and all levels. And we're going to say, right, we don't want them anymore. Not a chance that's going to happen. Sure, even go down even a lower level, go to the factories in Dumbia and all them other places that depend on EU workers coming in and helping them and taking them jobs. They would crash if all of a sudden we were saying, oh, leave, go there. Look, it's idiocy. And of course it's idiocy. Boris Johnson was leading it and so was Nigel Farage. These are the people that people thought were right, and you're like, oh my god.
And do you think we're in for another shocker with Boris taking over as PM? Is that going to be a thing?
That's going to be a thing, and I'm listening to him, and he's going to do this and do that, and I was like, this man is a moron.
But did he not what job was he in? He was an MP for.
He was an MP. I don't know the area. He was Mayor of London for. And I was more than that. I think
it was over the time of the Olympics. I remember him.
Yeah, he won that and his bow dancing and all that sort of. Oh, how do you like that man?
He just looks like a buffoon.
He is a buffoon. He's like Donald Trump. There's nothing there. There's hamsters running a wheel and he's just talking.
And the same hair.
And I think Jeremy Hunt had. I didn't watch the debate, but I caught the last bit of it, and the sort of between Boris and Jeremy Hunt, and they're asked, give us something good about your opponent. And Germany sort of like, well, Boris is good at, you'll ask him a question and he'll make you laugh and do this and he'll make you forget exactly what the question was. Yes. And off he goes. And I was like, that's exactly what he is. He's not going to give you the answers. He's going to make it out like a joke and laugh and move on.
What is it you guys call it? Filibustering?
Filibustering. We stand up and just talk until
I
couldn't listen
until people don't want to hear you anymore.
And it's brutal. This is the man who's going to be running this part of the world.
Do you really, really think it's going to happen?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's going to get in. Absolutely no problem.
And you think Jeremy Hunt just doesn't have?
Oh no, he doesn't have a chance. No, the popularity votes with Boris Johnson, everything's behind him. The whole momentum. Now it could be a big shock. I didn't see Donald Trump getting in fairness, but no, I don't think Jeremy Hunt's going to win it. And even then, he's not much better.
Can you just imagine it, Donnie and Bori running the free world together?
The worst haircuts in the world.
Yeah, I literally cannot speak on haircuts because
give me a couple of months. I'll probably join you.
One haircut. You know, I remember going into the barbers and you used to have options like, oh yeah, leave me a fringe. Yeah, what's that?
I go in and go tidy up and protect the sensitive areas.
The solar panel at the top.
Nobody can see it. No, the camera's not pointed to that. See, if this
we'll get one up there. Don't worry, folks. If you want to see Malachy Quinn's ball spotted, we'll get it for you.
Oh. No.
So Malachy, let me see. American politics seems to be the sexier politics. You know, it's when you see an American debate, it's all go. And
TV.
Ours just seems just meh. Do you think if our politics was a bit sexier, more people would be involved?
Do we want American style politics in this country? I don't think so. American politics to me is very personality driven. It's who looks good in the camera, who gives the best soundbite, who's great. At least as as bad as our system is here, at least we're still voting party-wise. We're still meant to be voting policy-wise. Why did Donald Trump get in? No, the best thing. This is the best one was George Bush. When George Bush was first elected over Al Gore.
Yeah.
Al Gore, probably one of the smartest men in politics at the time. He had been vice president, and I remember UTV or ITN had an interview, and I go, "Who are you voting for?" "I'm voting for George Bush." "Why?" "Oh, he just seems the type of guy you'd have a drink with." What?
And you'd have a drink with him.
Right.
But do you not think that it's really a real personable thing that someone needs to connect with the person they're voting for?
I certainly do. And again, that's part of probably a councillor, because you're from the area, you're connecting with people. That's important. I don't think you have that over in America, or really don't. You have sound bites, you have clips of them coming out and shaking hands, kissing babies, giving it all out there. It's not really the thing that you want, all your hopes vested in one person like that. It's not my sort of thing. Donald Trump, his approval ratings are all high because he's getting, and all he talks about is ratings and all this, and you're just like, it's not about that.
He's a TV star. He's not a politician.
He was a wrestler at one point.
Yeah, he was, what, WrestleMania 32 or something?
Oh no, it wasn't that. I think it was
or 20 something.
Back when I watched it, so it was probably the early 20s.
Yeah, I remember. It was, the whole thing was he was going to get his head shaved. The loser got their head shaved, and poor Donnie never got his head shaved.
No, that wasn't happening.
Poor Donnie.
But like, that's the type of man. He was in Home Alone. He's a movie star. Sure, he's in Home Alone 2.
He was in Home Alone 2. He was in the hotel.
This is a man we've elected president.
Well, we didn't.
We didn't. We had nothing to do with it.
I know, unless you have a visa you're not telling us about.
I'll say nothing. Say nothing. Just in case Brexit goes really bad, we'll say it.
What about that wall? Do you think he's going to get some kind of...
no, not a chance, thankfully.
Do you think he's going to get 4 more years?
Ooh, that's a good question. It depends who the Democrats put up to him. And I think there's about 20 candidates so far nominated.
It's quite far away from the nomination.
Like
coming
you have
up,
Joe Biden, you have Nancy Pelosi, there's a lot there is good candidates in there.
Yeah.
It just depends how they take him on, how they approach it. Hopefully he won't. But he has divided America that much. You're in one camp or in the other. So it's the two big, almost like here, the two big tribes are going to rise up, and it's going to come down to the middle class voters, working class voters. Who are they going to side with when it comes to it? Now, I think Hillary Clinton made a lot of mistakes in her campaigning. She ignored states that were always voting Democrat. She took them for granted, didn't visit them, and lost them to Donald Trump. And I think if they run it right this time, do it right, I think they'll take back the White House. Hopefully. Not that some of them are much better than Donald Trump, but
that's it.
Hopefully they'll be all right.
Would you ever think that Donald could be the lesser of two evils?
That's a sad word you're trying to paint for us.
I know. I'm trying to be optimistic. Let's come back home.
Okay.
Because we've gone over the Atlantic way too far. Let's get back to something that has been big news recently. TV license.
Mm-hmm.
It used to get it free if you're a pensioner, is that right?
Yes,
that's been taken away.
That's been taken away.
Is it gone already, or is that something that's coming?
No, it's coming in. It's coming in. It's not gone. It's not gone yet. But over 75 is going to have to pay, or maybe it's means tested, possibly. I'm not too sure. But they're losing the free license. I know there's a big campaign now to reverse that.
Yeah. What's your opinion on that? Do you think it's something that should be?
I think the whole license thing needs to be looked at in general.
Yeah.
I think the BBC are getting a lot of money, and I'm not seeing a big output, to be honest, from them.
Okay.
Look, everybody here is watching Netflix. Everybody here is watching different things. They're not tuning into BBC. The only thing in BBC I still watch, or used to, was Doctor Who. I think probably was the last thing I used to watch on it. And even then, I don't even know what's happening with that anymore.
And it's on Netflix too.
It's on Netflix too. Yes, it is actually. I can catch it there.
Not that we're sponsored by Netflix in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, Gavin Stacey's
Netflix
coming out again.
What?
Gavin Stacey.
I thought you said Kevin Spacey's coming out again.
That's
a hot topic.
That was a different story altogether. But no, whole licensing needs to be looked at. What are we funding?
Yeah.
What's it going towards? And then look at the demographics. What's actually working for them? EastEnders, obviously, there's the big hit. But what else are they doing with it? And BBC.
Because there used to be a bunch of sports on BBC, and there's
grandstand and all that sort of stuff as well.
The Formula One, everything used to be on it, wasn't it?
I sure they're boxing and all that sort of stuff years ago. Don't have that anymore.
And your TV license literally is just for paying
BBC.
So ITV and all that jazz.
No, they're all through commercials. And again, BBC need to start looking at that. If they can start funding themselves by putting a few commercials on their programming, what's difference is that going to make?
I suppose there's literally only 2 channels. There's only 2 BBC channels in there.
3.
Oh yeah, BBC
Is there
Three.
4? Is BBC 4 still a thing?
Did BBC Three not go to being a web only content thing?
See what
Sometimes.
happens when I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but there's so little people actually watching TV
No,
now.
I know that's-
Is there going to be? Do you think there's going to be a time where TV license is going to be irrelevant?
Well, it's starting to be irrelevant at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's clearly not working. We need more content. We need more people. And again, commercialing up BBC is not going to make a big difference.
But do you think it's something that should be just, to hell with it? Go get some advertisers at BBC, and it'll work itself out.
I would like to see what they're giving us first. I don't mind paying a TV license if I can see what I'm paying for. And look, I listen to, and again, don't forget about the radio stations.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
all
radio.
fun that way.
Yeah.
And I listen to the radio all the time. I think 5 Live especially, very, very good debates. Our own Radio Ulster with
Yes.
Stephen Nolan and Talkback and all
Yeah,
that. there.
Stephen. And Stephen's been doing really well.
He's been
as
doing
of
very
late.
well.
Lost a bunch of weight,
He
for a
has.
pity about. And like a lot of the issues that I have heard of and have brought to my attention have been through his show. And if it wasn't for that,
Biggest show in the country.
I would literally know. Well, I know very little now, but I would know so much less.
But again, they give that, and the radio is excellent, so I no problem funding that. It's just see what they're funding, what are they doing, change the way they're doing it. I have no problem paying the TV license, and I'm sure nobody else has a problem paying the TV license if they can see what they're paying for.
I think the biggest issue is that they're taking it away from
I want to take away from the
vulnerable
person.
people.
Absolutely. If they want to means test it, perhaps. If there's a lot of older people over 75 who can't afford to pay it, but there's a lot of people struggling. There's a lot of people at home, granny and grandads, that are living by themselves, and the TV literally is the only company that they have, and they're trying to take that away. Not a bloody chance should that be happening. So we definitely need to look at that a lot closer.
Yeah. Do you think? What do you think we can do to fight for those people?
You hound your councillors, you hound your MLAs, you point out the circumstances that is affected people living, as we call it, on the ground. Tell us about the incidents of people living alone that TV is the only output.
Yeah.
Tell about children that watch TV, and if they didn't have anything else, they wouldn't have anything else. That's the sort of stuff that needs to be highlighted to our local representatives, and you need to hound them to make sure that they are fighting for you.
Do you think there should be? Is there best way a petition, or just keep making noise?
Just keep ringing the phones, putting in the emails, and making sure that that elected representatives are doing it. There is petitions out there. I've seen them. Sign away, and hopefully they can put in. But it needs to be debated. And again, it's the Tory government picking on the most vulnerable and taking away stuff that they need. And we're not surprised.
Do you think it's going to be first TV license and then NHS? Do you think
that's already the NHS. They're still trying to privatise it.
Every time I hear about the NHS, it's going to be, we're thinking of privatising.
Look, and this is the scary thing about Brexit. That I don't think people are really catching on to. They're starting to catch on to now. America's going to be doing trade deals with us. They're going to want their big pharmaceutical companies coming into the NHS. They'll want their health services coming into the NHS. All those wee businesses, and the likes of Nigel Farage has already said, he would privatise it. Boris Johnson and the Tories always talk about him.
Nigel Farage used to be UKIP, was he? What is
he
he now?
He used to be UKIP. He's now the Brexit Party.
Oh, the Brexit Party. That was that party put together for the European elections. That's those guys that went and turned their backs in Brussels.
Twats.
Was that Brussels?
No, that was Brussels.
Like, what? What age are you?
I don't know. You know
what it reminded me of? Remember we were in school and you used to get soup. And you knew it was soup because there was a bowl sat down in front of you. And if you didn't want soup, you kept your bowl overturned. That's what it reminded me. I was like,
you always kept your bowl overturned, didn't you?
Of course.
No, I loved the soup. The soup was amazing in Kings Island. Loved it.
Soup just for me in general. I'm just not a soup eater at all, as you can tell.
Here, I can't really comment.
But that's what I got from it. I was like, come on,
we're electing
you guys worked your asses off to get
electing people that's talking about foreigners and the underlying racism of the whole thing and putting them, and this is what we're getting. The Nigel Farage, I'm going to defend fisheries and I'm going to stick up for our fishermen. He attended 4% of the committees over his last term in the European Union. That's how much defence he's going to do. It is all absolute crap. You can't trust them. They're slippery. They will say whatever they think they need to get elected, and they'll do absolutely nothing for us. They're going to ruin this country. They're absolutely going to take us to the toilet and ruin everything.
What do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to get to, when is it, October 31st is the deadline day for Brexit.
Deadline day. I would love to think we could force a second referendum. I think that's the way to go. I think a lot of people are now clued in to what the effects of Brexit actually are.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if we're going to continue having a Tory government, up until then, Boris has said he's going to pull us out. So they're going to pull us out. Hopefully.
Let me be devil's advocate here.
Play away.
Your second referendum, does it not kind of defeat the purpose of having the first one?
No. Absolutely.
But then would the argument then not be, let's have a third one?
Oh, you could have that
You
argument.
know?
You could have that argument, but very simple. What's the point of democracy? It's giving people a say. If
Okay.
people have changed their mind, which you should be allowed to do in a democracy, they have changed their mind. Let's test that out. There's some people who believe the Brexit will be even higher with a second referendum. I don't think it will. I think it'll be a massive majority in favour of people staying, and I think we need to bring that to the public. We need to give them a second vote, or we, you know what, maybe just slice it all up and pretend it never happened. That would be great as well, but not democratic. Give the choice to the people. Show them what deal they are going to get. Here's the deal that we have, which looks like it's going to be no deal whatsoever.
Yeah, because
What do
there
you want?
hasn't been a deal, has there?
No, not even close. Not even close. They can't solve the Irish border problem. They can't do anything right in general, and it's just not going to work. It's going to be a disaster for everybody. Absolute disaster.
That's quite optimistic, man.
No, I'm very optimistic, as you can tell. Look, there's no way to be optimistic about it.
Yeah,
We're going
it
to
just
have
seems to
tariffs,
be-
tariffs planted onto our local businesses who trade down south. World Trade Organization rules are going to come into play. We're going to have tariffs slapped on, so we're not going to be able to trade with China. We're not going to be able to trade with America until them deals are put into place. And if we are, there's going to be maybe 40% uptakes put on it. Now you
40%?
You have your own business. You know what exporting and bringing stuff in, and the amount of stuff is going to be put on top of that.
40%?
Possibly on different. It's going to be such a disaster. And then the EU sitting there. The EU is the fifth, I think, the world's fifth biggest economy.
So obviously all these trade agreements were
with the EU.
EU, and then because there was nothing before that, there's nothing
No,
to
well,
fall back into.
if you're going to leave the EU, you leave all the trade. You can't leave a club and then expect to take all the things with you that you had. It's not going to happen.
Well, what about European laws and stuff like that? They all go then too?
All go. That's another thing. Leaving the European Court of Human Rights. Let's get away from that. Yes, because human rights are such a bad thing. Let's pull away from it.
Have they even put together like a draft of this is what it's going to be after?
Your guess is as good as mine. I
Really?
don't know what they've done. I have not seen anything. I've been reading different things and different opinions. They have
Should this
nothing.
not have been something that was put together pre-referendum?
You would think that, but David Cameron went in thinking, "Oh, sure, we're going to win this." Like the rest of us thought, "Oh, this will be no problem." Didn't prepare for it. Sure, Boris had his bus, 370 million going to go to the NHS.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Absolute rubbish.
Yeah, but did he not come out and say after that, I was wrong about that, it's actually 500 million?
I'm sure he went out and then laughed about it, and everybody forgot what the question was because he's that good at that. It's just, it's a horrible world we're going to be living in come post-October.
Best case scenario.
We get a second referendum and we get out of Brexit.
Second best case scenario.
We get a very good deal. We have a different policy in place for the North. That maybe the North can stay part of the EU or stay within the trading laws, and we can get the best of both worlds out of it, and we could be like almost a trading hub for the European Union and the rest of the UK. I think that would be.
What about travel? Are the borders going to pop up with checkpoints and all that?
Well, they'll have to be. You can't have two jurisdictions and no border in between. You can't have the movement of goods because there's different food laws between the two. There's different. Now the UK will say, "Oh, well, we'll keep our standards the same," but that still has to be checked. So think the amount of meat, the amount of LED lighting that's going to go across it, as you know. Everything going across the border every single day. There's 200 something checkpoints or points of cross that you can get from the Republic to the North. They might how are you going to police that? How are you going to make sure
and
that
what side police is that? And does it have to be both sides at opposite sides policing that?
Who knows? Your guess is good as mine. They still haven't worked this out.
This is happening in October.
This is happening in October, and nothing.
We're in July for posterity reasons. It's the middle of July, so July, August, September, 3 months. There's literally get your shit together. There's 3 months, guys.
You're telling that to Boris? Not a
Boris.
chance.
Boris, look at me. Look at me. Don't distract me. Get this shit together, man.
Oh my God, I can't believe we're in this situation. But
It's crazy. It's crazy.
no, can't believe it. Cannot believe it.
And has politics always been this crazy? Was there ever a time where it wasn't so pessimistic?
You know what? I'm going to show how much of a nerd I am. I love being a nerd. Now, everybody knows I'm a big superhero fan. And, I read comics and stuff like that. I've just lost about 10 votes there. Anyway.
No, you haven't. More like 50.
I remember I remember the point they talked about, and the story in the comic was Lex Luthor became president of the United States. Superman wasn't happy, obviously, and one of the characters interrupted him. He's done something that nobody else could do. What was that? He made politics boring again.
Oh, okay.
And when everything's going okay, it is boring.
Yeah.
It's only when something's going wrong that it all starts getting excited. And yes, politics was always this crazy, but there was times when you don't hear anything because it's all going well or it's going okay.
Yeah.
It's only when stuff starts to go sideways that the excitement builds, because we're like, we're driving off a cliff edge. Woo!
It's crazy to think that there's so much happening in October. October's a great month.
Oh, it's going to be great. Halloween. Woo!
Halloween,
Bonfires.
leaving the EU, and then potentially equal marriage and
Equal
abortion.
marriage and abortion all coming in. Everything. Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to
That's people reading back in history books are going to be going, October was a good month.
Well,
eh?
maybe Stormont comes back in October, and then equal marriage doesn't come in, and abortion doesn't come in.
What do you think? What's the likelihood of between now and October?
With them, especially now, if I am the two bigger parties and you want equal marriage and abortion to come in, why would you do anything to upset that apple cart? And to be honest, now it's been done, now that deal's been signed, I don't think there's any turning back from it. Thankfully, there's no turning back from it. You can't all of a sudden, this is coming in, stop it. It's not going to happen. They're not going to stop it.
So what happens then after? Does Westminster rule?
Westminster, yeah. The legislation will have to go through Westminster because there's no Stormont for legislation to go through. So they will.
What way does that leave our MLAs? Are they powerless then? Or?
Oh, they don't have MLS technically.
So their titles will drop. What about your
I'm still councillor.
You'll still be there.
We work. Local councils are still working. Really, we are. But no, there's still MLAs, and look, especially my own MLA, Patsy McGlone, phenomenal work rate, does a lot of work, especially on welfare reform and PIP and stuff like that there. His office is crazy busy with people coming in looking benefits and stuff like that, and he works around the clock. He does a lot of it.
I've been reading stuff on Facebook, and that's where I get most of my information. I suppose a lot of people do, that MLAs are doing nothing.
You see, this is a popular... And
get back to work, I think, is the big thing.
No, they're not doing the full job.
Right.
They're doing about maybe a third or a quarter of what they should be doing, and that's why their pay is being chopped. Also an incentive to get them back to work, but they are definitely putting a lot of work. I can't.
So what is an MLA pay? What's the salary?
I think it's about 55 grand a year.
And what is
standard?
What are they cutting it down to?
I think they're in about 36 at the minute.
That's still quite good.
It's quite good.
It's quite good.
I
need to find a party and start running.
Those podcasts need to become very popular.
Yeah, that's the next step. This is
off the royalties.
This is my platform to becoming, I don't know, grand ruler of
the Irish Joe Rogan. That's what we're going for here. Irish Joe Rogan. You're already bald. That's what we got. We get this going.
That's the only coincidence. That's where the similarities die, because Joe Rogan would kick my ass.
I think he can. No.
Have you seen that dude?
I've seen him.
Dude
He's
is
jacked.
Tank.
Jacked man, and a very funny guy.
Spinning heel kicks, and I can hardly throw a punch. Never mind a heel kick.
Funny guy.
He's a funny dude.
No, his podcasts are very good. This one is going to be better though. But
finally, optimism. You heard it here first.
I am an extremely optimistic person.
To optimism.
I always want things to work, and there's always a way to get it to work. It's just the night is darkest just before the dawn. Throw a wee bit of Batman in there for you.
Is that Batman? Is that a Batman?
That's the Dark Knight.
I always thought it was some greater literary.
Probably is, but it was Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight. End of story.
Oh, there we go. That's that cleared up anyway. So let's talk a bit about the SDLP. Mm-hmm. Like, how's your party structured? There's yourself, MLAs, and then.
We are again a grassroots organisation, so it's designed from the bottom up. Yeah. So our most important thing is our members, and all members are equal. doesn't matter if you're a councillor or an MLA or an MP, you are equal to your local branch member. So we have local branches. We have our branch here in Coal Island. And it used to be a thriving branch. It was still not a bad branch as it is.
And do people call in there to get in contact with yourself, or how do people contact you?
Our phones and social media is the best way to get in contact with me. And again, our members, usually letters are thrown out, so everybody's contacted, and then we have our WhatsApp group, our Coal Island WhatsApp group.
Oh, there's a WhatsApp group?
Oh, there's a WhatsApp group. You can't see my WhatsApp group just before you ask. But
how do I become a part of said WhatsApp group?
You pay your membership and then we add you into said WhatsApp group.
Premium content. You only get so much as a free trial for the first few days.
First month is free. After that, you have to pay. So yeah, we're structured. Then we have our branches, and they meet. Then we have our constituency councils, which would be Mid Ulster as a whole.
Yeah.
Then we meet there once a month as well. Then we have a district executive, which is a wee bit wider than the constituency council, because it takes in sort of local council areas, which doesn't stick to constituency lines.
Yeah.
So that comes into play. And then we have our party executive, and it's not called the party executive, it's called something else now, but still party executive to me. And then our leaders and our MLAs in different groups. And we have the SDLP Youth, we have the SDLP LGBT, we have the SDLP Women's Group, all these sort of wee organisations.
Oh, there's all these subsections within.
Yeah.
And your leaders...
Colm Eastwood.
Colm.
Yes.
And Colm ran recently for
He
European?
did. He ran for European election. Unfortunately, he wasn't successful, but he did manage to put our vote up, which was excellent. And he's doing a good job at the minute. I'm very excited.
Excellent. And Colm's quite young.
He is.
Because when you look at all the other leaders, you're like...
All older. Yeah.
This young dude in here.
Absolutely. He's only a few years older than myself.
And you get in quite young as well. Because I remember you...
7?
I remember 10 years at least.
At
least 10 years
I
ago.
joined the party when I was 18. And I ran for my first election, I think, when I was 22 in Dungannon Town.
Because I remember seeing the boards go up and the thing. I was like, dude,
I didn't even have a beard. That's how young I was. I didn't even have a beard then. I had a lot of hair, but I had no beard.
No beard.
It
is all migrated down.
Horrible man you are.
I know. Come on, you can't expect me to come on and not jibe you at least a little bit.
But yeah, no, I've been 20, 2006. So was that 13 years I've been with the party?
Come on.
A long time.
Don't be asking me to do maths.
No, I can't wait till you get...
calculator open here.
We're going to get a teacher on here to teach him maths.
That'll be an interesting episode. Just me doing algebra
Pythagoras'
for 45
theorem
minutes.
and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be great.
I remember Pythagoras' theorem. That's how you get across the triangle.
Yes.
I think.
I hope so.
Don't hold me to that.
No, I was horrible at maths. Absolutely horrible at it.
It seems to be one of those things you're either really good at or really poor at.
No, science was my thing. Science and history and geography. Loved history.
And history falls into your remit with politics because it's
it does. My degree was in history. I went to St Mary's and done history, then I done a master's in politics. And I remember the first day of my master's degree, it says, "Welcome to history." And I was like, "Oh, have I got the wrong class?" And they're like, "No, you haven't got the wrong class. It's just politics is basically the second history department in Queen's." I was like, "Right, fair enough."
So for you to be a politician as such, do you need political education? No, you don't need there's no base requirement of you need to be educated to this level in this subject.
Absolutely not. No. If you want to help people and you think you can, run for election.
But do you not think there should be some kind of requirement, to stop any randomer just going, come on, jump in?
You see, there is that argument, all politicians should be educated and all politicians, but hold on a second. There's a lot of community workers working even in Coal Island, for an example. There's a massive amount of people, youth workers working for the community, do a fantastic job. And if you put them in a position of working for the council, they would do just an equally fantastic job. And if you put them in as an MLA, absolutely brilliant as well. So education and having an idea of what politics isn't necessarily going to make you a better politician.
So this is a complete waste of my time then, is that what you're telling me?
Learn your history. It's always very important.
I need to remember history first.
Learn your history. Once you know the mistakes you've made, you'll not make them again.
See, you say that.
I know that.
But every time I go to the kebab shop, I always order the same kebab, and the outcome's always the same.
Mistake is going to the kebab shop.
That's it. I should have went further up the street.
But no, certainly. Look, I didn't have a great knowledge when I first joined the SDLP. I read books. Literally the reason I done a master's degree was because I wanted to learn more about politics and really help my own knowledge. Thankfully, I passed. But that's what it was all about, just educating myself.
And that's what I'm doing here.
That's what you're doing. I'm
That's
trying
the
to
whole-
educate you. It's not going well.
No,
but yeah.
no. Well, I've learned know a hell of a lot more now than I did before you sat down in that chair. Thank God. But right, so you're councillor.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next step for Malachy Quinn?
My next step is to keep being a councillor and help as many people as I can.
Any aspirations to go up that ladder?
Yes, short and
Okay.
simple. Yes, I do. I would love to. I would love to be an MLA. I would love to be able to influence policy, especially when it comes to stuff I'm interested in. The arts being the big one. If I had more influence on what happens with the arts, it would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
MLA is definitely a position I would look at. There's no vacancies currently. We have a fantastic MLA in Patsy McGlone at the moment. SDLP is growing in Mid-Ulster.
Yes.
I hope one day that we'll be able to elect 2 MLAs, but that's still a while off.
And do you have to wait then until such times as an opening comes, or is it just one of those things you could challenge for it at some time?
When it comes to knowledge, we're talking about earlier on. There's no better. Look, there's no better MLA in this country than Patsy McGlone, 100%, and I mean that. He is fantastic and works across the whole community, not just one section, and will work tirelessly for anybody, and that's an example I'm trying to draw upon in my work as a councillor. And if one day, if I'm lucky enough to go forward as selected by party members for the SDLP to be an MLA, I will embrace that. But if somebody said to me, "Do you want to run tomorrow?" I go, "No, I don't think I'm ready for it."
You wouldn't jump in.
I probably would, but do I think I'm personally ready? I don't know. I think I'm doing okay as a councillor. I can do a lot more, and I'm trying to do a lot more. And hopefully in the future, I would love to be in Stormont. But I think it's still a wee bit away yet.
Okay. Well, you probably noticed I was on my phone there, being really ignorant.
Yes.
What I was trying to do is, because you have a background in theatre,
Yeah.
it just clicked to me. I was thinking, let's do Inside the Actors Studio. If you've ever watched it, James Lipton, he interviews actors, and at the end he asks these 10 questions.
Oh.
And you ever watched it, yeah?
I have.
You
One
have?
I was watching Bon Jovi done it Inside the Actors Studio. Yeah,
Did Bon Jovi act?
No, I wouldn't actually say he acts, but he's in films.
Oh, he's in films.
The whole thing was they have released a new album, and the station that does Inside the Actors Studio, they were tied in exclusively. Bon Jovi had to be on their shows, and then they had to go on Inside the Actors Studio, which was really silly. But there's ones with Bradley Cooper and the ones with, who do you call him? Robert De Niro and all that sort of stuff. They're brilliant. The Bradley Cooper one is excellent because Bradley was a student in that college.
Oh, in the same college.
And he's very emotional, and he comes out, and James obviously asks the same questions to everybody when the first comes in, and Bradley was, "Oh my God, this is so strange," and he started crying, and it was very emotional. But it's actually
Let's check that out.
Oh, there's
Probably on YouTube, is it?
Oh yeah.
YouTube's excellent.
Other search engines are available too, of course.
Of course. Not we're sponsored by anyone. So there's 10 questions. Let's just pop them out, all right?
Okay.
Malachy Quinn,
Uh-huh.
what is your favourite word?
Meh.
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 Meh. I seem to do it all the time. Gets me out of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, that would work. That would work. I can see how that would be very useful. What's your least favourite word?
Oh. I don't know. I love all words.
There must be something.
Depends on my
Are
mood.
you one of these people that doesn't like moist?
No. But my wife's friend hates that word, and I love saying moist. Moist.
Do a nice clear one there when you use it as a soundbite.
Moist.
There we go.
It's going to be excellent.
What creatively turns you on? What gets you up in the morning, and what gets you going?
I tell you, my council work gets me up in the morning. And I genuinely mean that. I love doing this job. And I'm sounding very Eric Bischoff here, talking about WCW and all that sort of stuff. I love...
That's a wrestling reference
Yes,
for people
wrestling.
that don't know and going, who's Eric
Can
Bischoff?
you just see my votes going so low? Comic books, films,
there
wrestling.
could be like a surge of votes for people that were, I didn't know he liked that stuff. I like that stuff too.
But
You
no,
never
look,
know, dude.
I get a joy out of the council, and I absolutely adore my council work, and I adore been doing it for the last 5 years. Doing a good play, doing a good musical, that gets me up. Going into rehearsals and doing all that there. Knowing you're going to a live show, that gives me a buzz. It's brilliant.
Okay, so the opposite of that then, question number 4 is, what turns you off creatively?
I don't know, people who are better than me. And you know what I mean.
Typical.
You know what I mean.
Typical. Oh, he's doing really good. Fuck him. Yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there. We've all been there. So, what sound do you love?
I love guitar.
Guitar, electric guitar, acoustic guitar.
Acoustic guitar. And I love it played well. I love being in a pub with a man or a woman that's able to sing and play that instrument, and you just sit there with a good pint beside you and you're just lost in it.
Deadly.
Absolutely brilliant. That's why I love Bardic Theatre. It's not so much the shows, it's the after party afterwards when we're all sitting in Tomley's and we're sitting there with the drinks and the guitars right, and there's 3-4 people maybe with a guitar and everybody's singing, and you're just like, this is what it means to be Irish. It's July, we're all talking about culture. That's culture. Sitting in the pub, listening to all this litany of Irish music, rock music, pop music. It's
So what sound do you hate?
I hate this inside the extra studio stuff. It makes you think.
Yeah.
What do I hate?
What sound do you hate? So you love the sound of acoustic guitar and music. So what's the opposite of that?
I don't know. Give me some ideas and I'll throw them out at you.
Screeching the car tires, alarms, anything like that?
Anything that wakes me up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Passing cars in the road, you're like, oh my God. That sort of thing. When, or alarm, or the beep. Tell you what's annoying.
Yeah.
The smoke alarm beeping when you're trying to sleep and there's no batteries in the house.
When it gets low battery and
that
it does
happened
that
to me this
warning
week. I was testing.
And how often should people check their smoke alarms?
Every Monday, isn't it?
I think it's a week thing, isn't it?
It's a weekly thing.
Yeah.
Press the button.
It's something I need to start doing.
I'm
awful for remembering stuff, just in general, but specifically safety things. Okay, next question. This might be a tricky one.
Oh, bring it.
What's your favorite curse word?
Oh. Can we beep these things?
You don't have to say the word. You could skirt. Well, you're a politician. Just skirt around it. Filibuster.
It's a 4-letter word.
What does it begin with?
It's got a U in it.
Yep. Got you right there. If you don't know what that is,
don't Google that. Don't.
Google it anyway.
Don't.
Google. Just do it.
See, I can bring up several ones, so I'm
I know,
hiding there.
I know.
That's
Actually,
a real
no.
politician answer that one, isn't it?
Come to think of it, don't Google that. So, what other profession, other than your own, would you like to attempt?
Other than being in politics, I did originally try to be a teacher.
That's where you were going?
That's where I wanted to go. It didn't work out.
Primary school, secondary school?
Primary school. I think probably that was because I aim for secondary school. I think I would have been better at secondary school than I was at primary school. But my mother and my father, both teachers, and my sister's a teacher, and it's always a profession that I always thought I'd love a wee shot at that. But if we're fantasizing that, I'd love to have been a singer if I could have sung. I would love to have been a wrestler if I was muscly, which I'm not. And writer, and that's what I'm still trying to juggle with.
Yeah.
That's real.
You writing anything at the moment?
I'm writing a few things at the moment, yes.
Anything you want to talk about?
No.
Anything you want to divulge? Any ideas I can steal?
I told you them all the other night, and then I had to have you sign a disclaimer so you wouldn't steal them all.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm currently working and researching just on a play.
Yeah.
That I'd like to write. May not go anywhere other than my laptop, but at least trying out the process. And I'm fiddling around with a few stories in my head as well, based on heroes and mythology. I was a massive mythology fan when I was younger, especially Irish and Greek mythology. I read their books through as a young teenager, read everything I could get my hands on when it came to mythology, the gods, monsters, heroes, all sort of stuff. And I loved that. And that's sort of a few stories based around there. If I can get the time to sit down and write them.
Because you work a regular 9 to 5 as
well?
Yeah,
I work 8 to 5 in Meteor Electrical.
Excellent.
Great place to work.
And
now
you've plugged those guys, so
yes, I have.
They'll have to pay you more now.
I wish. Pay me less. Didn't plug us long enough. That wasn't the agreement.
So, last question.
Yes.
We're going to wrap up with this one. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say to you when you reach the pearly gates?
You're allowed in. It can't be better than that. Oh, I hope. Well, I hope it exists. I'm a Catholic, so I know it exists. I hope it exists.
Yeah.
Look, if I can get up there and St. Peter lets me in and God lets me in, hopefully all the rest of my friends and family and all make it in too. And I'm gonna have some good times.
Excellent.
Some good times when I get up there.
Well, Malachy, thank you so much for joining us this
Thank you very
evening or
much for
whenever
having
you're
me.
watching this. And folks, don't forget to follow us on all the social medias. If you're a local constituent of Malachy's and you have any issues, don't be afraid to get in contact with them.
Certainly don't.
And once again, any party out there that wants to come on and have a chat, come on ahead. I'm all ears. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See ya.
You've been listening to Educating Aiden. Educating Aiden. But the conversation doesn't stop here. If you have any questions or just want to find out about upcoming episodes, then follow Educating Aiden on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Like and subscribe on YouTube and hit that notification bell. Thanks for listening.